Okay, welcome everyone. Today I have with me the amazing Amanda Devore, and Amanda and I have just been having the opportunity to get to know each other over the last couple weeks and really dive in here today on this call. I'm doing this Magdalene interview series because, of course, as everyone knows, I'm leading a pilgrimage to the south of France in September, and this is my initiation into whatever I meant to hold there. I get to have these amazing conversations with individuals who have a relationship and connection either to the Magdalene or to the south of France or to the goddesses that I feel Mary Magdalene kind of invites you into. And so I'm super excited today to get to chat with Amanda and share her work with all of you, especially because Amanda is such an edge walker. So Amanda, tell us a little bit about the two worlds that you live in and what your medicine is in the world.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it. What is my medicine in the world? I love that. And I love the term edgewalker too. So I would say I was raised Catholic. So when my mom had to bribe us with Baby Ruth candy bars to go to these makeup classes because my brother had done the whole communion thing, but my middle brother and me were younger. So we were a bit behind and we challenged her more in that area. So I can remember from a very young age, I've always been this black sheep, punky kiddo that was just something's not right here. Something is really messed up here. What's going on? So I really challenged her, and I'll never forget the beautiful, sweet lady who did the Sunday school classes. She started talking about Mary Magdalene, and she went into those same types of stereotypes and marginalizations of women that many of us have experienced throughout the globe, on her being a prostitute, and she was an apostle, and I don't see her as an apostle. I see her as absolute equal. So that came later, but I really challenged it, and in the end I convinced my mother not to send me anymore because it felt like I needed to take a shower afterwards. It felt gross. So long story short, I was in college and I took a metaphysical course with this amazing man who still teaches in the New York City area, and on all the metaphysics of the world traditions. And then everything opened up from there. I started going to Zen Buddhist monasteries and meditating, and that kind of went on the back burner a little bit in a relationship. And then I opened it up again in my late 20s. And then everything started coming in. I was ordained as an Episcopalian minister through the Institute for Spiritual Development, which was really designed to the metaphysics of the Christ consciousness teachings and bringing those through again, which, hundreds of years ago, we would have been, either really shunned for or even murdered for. So this path, it's always been there, and it's always kind of fallen in my lap seamlessly, that. I kind of refer to it like the golden thread, and just it really helps you to not make too many plans because it often never goes the way you plan it to in your mind, and sometimes worse or sometimes much more magical. I don't even know if I answered your question. I can't remember the original one, but
oh, that's so amazing, and it's perfect. It's so beautiful, hearing. How old were you when you convinced your mother that it wasn't for you?
Oh gosh, it was probably fourth grade. Yeah,
Wow.
I was yeah, and I was always challenging them, and their kind of traditional relationship where the woman makes all the food. I just always was like, what is this? Now I remember your question, the Edgewalker piece. Yeah, so alongside of that, I was going to school for business, and I got a business management degree, and I was in Long Island at Hofstra University, and I was just looking around, and it was so much about money that I was like, I just don't know if this is for me. So I ended up going a school counseling route, and then I was working intensely with students with autism, actually, And I learned a lot about students with autism, which later, now I have a child with autism. So,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a big multidimensionality with kiddos with autism. And I don't know if you've heard of the telepathy tapes yet, Melissa.
I have.
Yeah. And I have that kind of connection with my son. So it's really beautiful that work and how the two worlds collided a little bit. And then I became a director of special education, overseeing programs for students with disabilities, and then a school principal. And then I decided I was done in public education. And I started Net of Love LLC, and I started working directly with students with this lineage and the Egyptian shamanism pieces. Really just divine love is what it is. And opening and activating the light body and all that. We can get into that later if we want to. But so I spent like 2 years really kind of just strictly walking in 5D. It was phenomenal. And then I had a dream, and I went back into an organization that supports schools and does training for schools. And now that's what I'm doing, with a lot of work with like restorative practices and classroom circles, and kind of like our state is really progressive and looking at how do we kind of flatten the hierarchy and really challenging the power structures. There's an actual document that is now at the center that they call the Portrait of the Graduate in New York. So it's really progressive, and I'm really excited to be at the forefront of it and supporting the work.
I mean, like, this is what I said when we first got on together, but like, to imagine somebody doing all this work in the education world in your state, and then simultaneously having this side or this insight about who you are, it's really beautiful. And I can only imagine how many times it has felt like you're being squeezed through a tube of toothpaste to be walking in both worlds and have to answer to all of the like red tape and nonsense that exists in that side, but also like continuing to feel called there. Like, what has that been like for you?
It's a profound initiation, because there's a lot of the fear pieces that women have too from hundreds of years back. And we have that in like when we talk about ancestral healing, like in the epigenetics, there's a lot of good research now about epigenetics and how that trauma is there through the genes. And that fear is real, of being your most authentic self as a woman, especially one who is an energy healer, and who is a minister or a priestess. Like there's a lot of pieces with that, but I've been very blessed on my path. Like just that inner knowing of showing up as your most authentic self. It's what the world needs right now more than anything, taking these masks off. And anybody that's ever like challenged it, once I sit and talk with them for a little bit, they want to know more. they can feel the authenticity and the truth and the love in it, and the science behind it. I love integrating the science too.
Ah, that's so cool. And I loved when you were talking about, how some of the structures that you've been able to help implement have helped, shift these elements of hierarchy and power dynamics in the school system. That's one side that I have had to reflect on a lot. Like, we are training our kids to outsource their authority all the time simply by putting them in a classroom. And some of it is necessary because the teacher has to figure out in survival strategy, like how to manage the classroom. She's got so many students and all the demands and whatever. But also it really does teach our kids at such a young age to outsource their internal authority. And so I love that, because to me, that is something that I feel Mary Magdalene really represents, is this element of collaboration and equality, and each of us showing up with our own internal authority intact. I'd love to hear for you what's something about Mary Magdalene, or what was the moment for you where you felt a real resonance and connection with her?
I had a lot of mystical experiences connected to Mary Magdalene. and I still do every day. Like, as you know, the more and more you're on this path, the more it happens and the more you have the synchronicities and the connections. But for me with the, it's really interesting because I kind of pushed the Magdalene away a little bit. I don't know if push is the right word. I went directly to Isis Outset. Like, for me, that was like, that felt most in resonance for me. And I feel deeply that she was connected deeply to Auset and Hathor and the Egyptian mysteries as well. That's how she understood the concepts of ascension with Yeshua. And Yeshua, the shoe, is right in his name. The shoe, the connection between Geb and Nut, the pillar between heaven and earth, that Star Walker, Edge Walker thing we're talking about. For me, it was very much about the Egyptian mysteries going back through, because I really struggled, even with Gnosticism, with the separation of the mother and the demiurge and those pieces. Like, I felt like there's still a unity beyond that we haven't gotten to yet. So for me, the Magdalene was definitely like this extension of Auset, Isis, that divine mother energetics, and Asar and the winged Ba body and those connections, which I believe she definitely held. So I there's so much mystery with the Magdalene, but a lot of it for me is the Hathor, the Heruhet, the Hathor embodiment, which is the understanding that the outer is a sacred mirror. And not just a mirror for fear and learning and lessons, but a divine sacred, like thinking of the breath of life and the cosmic netaru, like the in breath and then the out breath of that figure eight motion, and that this reality is very sacred and it's very beautiful. And for a long time, women would be called witches, or that interesting weird black magic energy. It's not that at all. This is something so much more beautiful, sacred, and pure and divine, that we have to get past all of that. I want to, the word rhetoric is coming through. I want to Google, because this happens when I'm talking about this stuff. The word rhetoric is coming through, to really feel into how sacred nature actually is, and that it's a partner, but it's not even a partner. It's us. We are one with it. And those were the greatest lessons, and all those mystical experiences that I've had with the Magdalene energy were all those kinds of things. That Hathor, that Heruhet, that the sacred mirror of I am you and you are me and we are one.
Oh, there was so much in that, in all of those statements. So someone listening perhaps may not recognize that Magdalene was even connected to Isis, right? But historically, we know that it's very likely she had wealth. There was a highway, to Alexandria. It was very likely that she would have studied, even as a Jewish woman, in mysticism and in the Egyptian mystery schools. And I just get to go based on threads, but I have received the same piece there. There was a time I was doing this somatic work, and I felt like I was calling in Magdalene, I was working with Magdalene, and then what dropped in as I actually tuned into my body was, it's all Isis. Isis is using Magdalene to get to you.
Yeah. She is Isis, right? Isis is her. She is us. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So first, speaking to that, like, Egyptian connection is just so profound. Because then when we learn even a little bit about what was Isis about, and what was the Egyptian mystery schools, what were they teaching, and what was there, and you alluded to some of those things, it made me want to just be so present with every breath. It's so easy to forget that, isn't it? Like, that sacredness with life, and it's literally flowing in and out of us in every moment of every day, whether we ask for it or not. It's like so beautiful. So thank you for bringing that in.
Yeah.
And then you spoke to nature. And this has been a big activation for me as well. It's like the transition for me out of religion and into just, I'm still like into whatever feels the most real in every given moment. Like, this is my journey right now. And it has been this return home. Like, so I thought that leaving the high demand religion that I was in was like leaving the structures, the support, the community it represented, all the rules that created all this perceived safety for me. And I really had to just be in the fear of that and letting go for probably a good year, until I started to recognize the whole wide world and the stars and the angels and the unseen and the people and everything is here for me. They are all my relations. And deepening that relationship to Mother Earth and to the trees and to the herbs and to the food that we depend on we have to eat every couple hours. Like, it's so amazing. I was like, oh, I left this tiny system of support and structure to enter this vast system of support and structure.
Yeah, a friend of mine says it's throughout the firmament. We just have to trust it's there and it shows up. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you want to say any more to that connection to nature and what that kind of
Yeah, and I know you're doing your journey to France also, and I had a big piece with it. I would say the last 3 years that's come in very deeply for me, kind of that fae. And it's interesting. Fae is in the word pharaoh, right? The fae, the pharaoh, the light ones, right? The shining ones. How it's in like this higher dimensional octave. And when we hold the embodiment of the Ka to greater potency, the Ka body, the light body, that sacred relationship that you're talking about, all of my relations starts happening with the plants and the trees. And I started working with flower essences, and I could literally feel the crystalline energy of the flower in my heart, because my heart's been so activated over the years that it was a whole new thing that was coming in. And like the tears that would flow on how beautiful this is. Like, people say tree huggers, but like the old me could have never conceived of what was possible with all of my relations. So I had this experience with the stinging nettle this last year, and I was guided to go to a location. And in the book, it talked about be careful because there's lots of stinging nettles there. And these are locations where they had sacred reverence to the feminine energy. And it's interesting, the stinging nettles and those areas in the world. So that it kept coming in. And then I was learning to do like tinctures and teas with nettles and that kind of stuff through a dear friend of mine who's like a master herbalist. And I was going to France. It was in June for solstice. And I was at Montségur. And at the time, I was learning that when you approach the nettle with that sacred relationship of reverence, and not like just take the leaf off kind of thing for tea, but like really like hold energy and send it love, it won't sting you.
Really?
Yes. So when you do that and you connect with the plant, and then you almost like ask for permission or like give a sacred offering, and then you grab the leaf and you pull it off, and often it won't sting in that moment. And it's so connected to the healing that's happening on the planet with men and women, right? Like, but even women approaching men, like, may I? Like that sacred may I got lost. And in meditation, I've had that beautiful experience with the divine masculine too. Like the may I connect with you. So for me, it really became this like appropriate boundaries and reverence and like sacred offering and relationship before just like assuming, right? Or taking. which was a whole other level of initiation for me. So when I got to Montsegur, I was inside. We went up at night, the night before in the dark. And I highly recommend doing that if you haven't done it. And the way you can see the stars up there, because the light pollution is so minimal. One of the most beautiful experiences of my life. And I went outside on the stone wall, and I went to sit against the stone wall, and I just kept feeling nettle stings on my hands, because I was just looking for a place to sit. And it kept being with me while I was like over those months in that year but I learned too that the sting has medicine in it also. Mm-hmm. So and I've connected with Cirquet, that scorpion nectar, which for me, I've been shown working with that through healing and things like that, is the poison and the antidote all in one. Mm-hmm. So I was really feeling that from the stinging nettle too. And then I walked over to this area up there. It's like it almost looks like a triangle pointing off the mountain, going toward the east. It's a little bit southeast, I think. And it's like this triangle, and there's dirt in the middle, and it's all stinging nettles around that area. So I just sat in the nettles and watched the sunrise on solstice this year. And it was like, whoa. You can't make this stuff up, like how it comes through and how it happens. And it's so mystical, and it's that Magdalene mystic energy that just, once we've opened the heart to such a degree energetically, it's just, the way it comes through, it's like it energetically brings you to your knees in awe.
Oh, yum. Thank you. I did not know any of that about stinging nettle connection to divine feminine. Anything you just said. What a gift. That was so cool. Oh, we have a lot of stinging nettle around our region. I'm like, I think you just shared that with me for a reason. I'm super excited about that. Yeah. Well, Amanda, this has been so enlightening and beautiful, and I feel like I can't wait to learn more from you and the things that you're doing. So tell us what you're offering. Tell us where people can connect more with you and in the mystical side of things.
Yeah, so I work individually with students. I've found the ones that I work with just came to me, or they had a dream, or something really cool happens. An example, my mom once saw a friend in Walmart, and that's how yeah, literally, like that's how it happened. Yeah, just interesting ways people have come to work with me, and I can tell right away, like if they're ready for and it doesn't anybody I've worked with people that are just healing their marriage from the energy healing minister perspective, up into like full activations for a lot of this, the Egyptian 10 bodies. So people can work with me through just sending me an email at netoflovellc@gmail.com, or I will sometimes kind of throw on like a meditation circle series, and I put that through my email out to my email group, or on Instagram. But at this point, some of the work I do is through the Institute for Spiritual Development in Oneonta. It's called the Lotus Center. And it's just this amazing group of women that came together. It was like we were all in these different parts of the state, and we all came together at the same time. It was back in I want to say 2017. And I was ordained as an Episcopalian minister through them originally. I'm now ordained through the SHES, with the International Assembly for Spiritual Healers and Earth Stewards. And so the classes and the circles I do are often through the Institute for Spiritual Development. So I have upcoming, I told you earlier when we were talking, I often will use, a friend of mine did it, and I was like, this is genius, the E Squared book by Pam Grout, which has a lot of the science of manifestation and quantum physics and that kind of thing in it, which I like because you don't have to have it from a religious perspective. Mm-hmm. So her second book, which is E Cubed, is a bunch more energy experiments for people to do. So we kind of do a virtual book club. And I'll be doing that on Thursdays in March. And I tie in teachings. I bring in teachings to that as well. And then we do some meditation in that. And then also connect it to the metaphysics of the world religions and how people are saying the same thing, but using different words. And then we also have that group. A dear friend of mine started many years ago with the pastor there, the minister, what's called the Shift Fair, Shift New York. And it's grown. It used to be in a hotel space, and now it's actually at the hospital. So again, the Edgewalker, connecting those two worlds at the hospital. So I'll be doing energy healing there, as well as a workshop on Egyptian shamanism and the Hathor priestesses. And that's in April. If anybody wants more information, they can reach out to me. But my full-time gig takes up a lot of time, and I travel a lot with that as well. So trying to put things up here and there and then work with clients on the side is just kind of divinely orchestrated at this point. As much as I can do, I try to without burning myself out.
It's really refreshing to talk to you, because a lot of people that I've met who follow this call to these Egyptian teachings and things almost sort of lose, in my perspective, like lose relevancy. Like they completely leave the planet, and it's like, what are you talking about? Like, and I feel this, it seems really meaningful and beautiful, this medicine that you're bringing to. You constantly are staying connected to what is real in the tangible world, and staying connected to what is real in the spiritual world. And being that bridge, I think, is extremely powerful, Amanda. So I'm so grateful I've had this opportunity to get to know you and share you with my all my communities and things. And I do hope that you will reach out and give Amanda a follow and reach out to her. And you said, what is your website again?
It's netoflove.com.
Great.
Yep. And then my email is netoflovellc@gmail.com.
Amazing. Thanks again so much, Amanda. And thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.